Welcome back to a Celtic State of Mind, where I, Paul John Dykes, will be discussing that first half with my esteemed colleague Russell Boyce. Russell, yes, 45 minutes. It's definitely more of a pressing challenge than we've had in the first three games, I would say. A much more athletic side, Preston North End, aren't they?
Pressing's a very good word to use, though, Paul, because there was a lot of pressing involved. When Barkas picked up the ball on the halfway line, about 39 minutes, I nearly had a heart attack. But do you know what? It's great to see an identity getting formed, when I know it's pre-season and, it's much of a muchness what the result is. Fair enough. But what you are seeing is he has ideas. He wants them implemented. And he wants them implemented now. And I am very much the opposite to have been on the Angie Love train. You know what I mean? Like from the get-go. But when I sit and watch, OJs. But when I sit and watch that, I go, do you know what? Fair play. See, to have that influence in such a short space of time, where there is quite clearly an identity Celtic want to play with now, quite clearly. And my biggest disappointment was David Turnbull. When he took that touch in the box, I've never seen him look hesitant before. I expect that touch out your feet, boom, goal. But that's kudos to him, just because I expect so much of him.
Yeah.
But the way Montgomery plays on the left, there's one thing, and I love the way Tony Haggerty speaks in this pod, Paul, right? Sign good players, play the best team, play good players, you'll have a good team. And it does make sense. Montgomery, to me, should be just looking at Kieran Tierney and thinking like Tony Haggerty and going, good left back, be a good left back, play like a good left back. And I think if ever Celtic had a modern day icon, it's Kieran Tierney.
Oh, absolutely.
I understand that. 2 seconds.
On that point, just while you go and...
Sorry to tell you.
So that on that point...
I'm not used to my mum's fault.
I know. I'm going to bring up this point from Kaplan Mark, and it's not to be negative, because again, there's a big klaxon every time there's a mention of anything negative. Both fullbacks just nowhere near good enough. Now, I think that is a valid point. Because, Taylor, right? So you look at Taylor, and we were saying about the shape, Russell, that you've just said there. You can see what they're trying to create. You can see that Ange Postecoglou is frustrated when it's not working. But see, Taylor, right? I counted half a dozen occasions in that first half alone where he's lost possession whilst we're in attack. Now, one of them was a poor cross. One of them, he just run the ball out the park. Another one, he's overplayed the pass. But 6 times in one half. Now, I think about a year ago, I was probably going on about the fact that he's not used to having so much possession. He's probably used to defending rather than the offensive side of the game because he was playing for Kilmarnock at the time. That's no longer an excuse. You've been at Celtic long enough now that you need to be comfortable on that ball. And when you're in an offensive position, you need to know how to deal with that. And he can't. He just doesn't have it in his locker, right? So he's always looking busy. We know he's fit, long bursting runs, but the end product isn't there. On the other side, Ralston has never looked as limited as he did in that first half. Now,
that balloon over the bar just summed up. I know that sounds really small-mindedness, like to talk like that, but when he ballooned that opportunity over the bar, he just felt you're just playing with a team that, I'm not saying that it's a great start 11, but you just feel that this level is just a wee bit beyond you.
I think it is.
And I hate saying it like that, but that balloon over the bar, he went, if ever there was an opportunity and, to re-establish yourself in this and become go, do you know what maybe is the backup right back option? There was a beautiful move made. And I actually liked the way we set up the play. But then he gets the chance. It was presented to him. And you know what? He flapped. And that is the honest truth. And you just think, see, you then fast forward that into, I don't know, Tynecastle away. And it might not be a slim situation. It might be a one-on-one he's defending.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you still flap, you can't cut it. Celtic first team 11. No. It's a shame. It's a shame. So I think his heart's in the right place. You know that. I
5 minutes.
Comfortable flagging him, Paul.
No, this is the thing. He gets a lot of criticism, Russell. I don't think we've ever been over the top with Ralston, but I think his limitations are really evident today. So if they're evident today, You fast forward to the Midtjylland game, 5 minutes from the end of the game, in a moment where you've got to have that composure, and I just don't think he's got it. By the way, I've got to say, I was watching Premier Sports coverage because the Celtic TV coverage flipped, to use one of your expressions, onto Premier, because there was some kind of technical issue. It must be something ongoing, because obviously you've had technical issues. But Chris Sutton was on good form during the commentary. He was just ripping that commentator to shreds all the way through that first half, which is just it's vintage Chris Sutton.
My dream, everyone talks about you make money off, you try to make money off Celtic. I don't care about making money off Celtic. No one cares about that. That's not our goal. My goal, my dream, my ultimate dream would be Chris Sutton 1-1, and I want to shred to bet every bit of that Derek Johnson interview with him. I want to go, what was going through your mind when you phoned? See, when you called him an embarrassment in that tone, how smug was your face? I need to have this conversation with Chris. It's my life goal. It's not about making money. I need to see Chris Sutton break down the Derek Johnson beatdown that he did that day. Because for me, my YouTube top videos, Paul John Dykes are Welcome at Celtic State of Mind, George Michael Fastlove, and Chris Sutton destroys Derek Johnson.
Right. Well, you can also add on to that. You were talking about a love train earlier on. You've got to watch Soul Train, the old show Soul Train, with the dance segments. Don't know if we're going to recreate it on ACSOM. Who knows what's going to happen this season? We do have big plans. Listen, we've got
Radiohead. Remember,
you were talking about getting an opportunity to speak to Chris Sutton, Clarkson. Right, I'm in a car with Chris Sutton, driving up to, I think it was Inverness. So you get that opportunity. What did I talk to him about? His favourite book. His favourite books. His favourite books. He spoke all the way up the road about books, literature, authors. An interesting fella.
There's a
lot of comments coming in about Barkas. I've got to say, right, he did make that save, and it was a cracking save. He looks a lot more confident, but I tell you what, we are still wafer thin when a ball's played into that box. We don't have a commanding figure, and it worries me immensely.
Yeah.
I'm delighted we're bringing in these free-flowing, rip-roaring players that we've been bringing in this week, Russell. But see, in defence, we are poor, we're still poor in the centre of that defence. Really worrying.
It's weird because modern football's changing, right, all the time. The first change you've seen was full-backs. See, when Kieran Tierney goes down, it's not the Tesco bag that's made him this new, fun, like this refreshing fullback in the English Premier League. It's the fact he can tackle, which shows you the last 10 years, fullbacks has all been about bombing on, doing the Bobby Carlos. Don't forget, Bobby Carlos was a defender first and foremost, right? And then he was sensational because he had the overlapping runs in his locker, the whip of the crosses, and the assists record, which is fantastic. Right now, what we're seeing is with goalkeepers predominantly to be sweeper keepers and not keeping the ball out the net. Keep the ball out the net. I've seen Barkas as a touchdown at the very start of this brief at the halfway line at one point, doing a wee sideways pass. I'm like, it's too high for me. Like, it makes my eyes water, And I'm advocating David Marshall to join. He'll be sitting there going, mate, are you having a laugh? Did you see the position Barkas was just in? You know what happened to me the last time I was in that position? But you can't help but feel, as goalkeepers, the Neuer thing, he was the beginning of this, wasn't he? The sweeper keeper role, and it's just, can we get back maybe to basics a wee bit? I want a goalkeeper. I hate doing the comparison. Alan McGregor to me has been so many points to Rangers. They are rivals. That's the team we need to beat. You ever seen him being a sweeper keeper? The only time you see Alan McGregor at the halfway line is when a yellow card's given it to the opposition player and it's not red. That's the only time you see him at the halfway line.
Yep, correct. You're absolutely spot on. Scott Howe, welcome back to the show, Scott. I hope you're doing well. You're commenting on YouTube. If you are watching on YouTube, please remember to subscribe. Remember to subscribe. Do you know Scott, do you?
Well, not just for YouTube, but
all right. Virtual. We know him virtually. Remember to subscribe. You will be put into a monthly prize draw this month up to the end of July. You will have a chance to win Urban Hymns by the Verve Platinum Disc BPI as presented to EMI. So it's the real deal for 2.1 million sales. Scott, how?
If you won that, Paul, you would be a lucky man.
You would be a lucky man. You are right. The deal's done for Starfelt. Well, I'll tell you what. See, watching that first half, and I'm looking at Turnbull and his performance, very impressed with that. And I'm trying to pick out all the positives from that team. I thought Montgomery played pretty well in the first half as well. He was no scared to try some, Russell, even if he loses out. And I think that's brave for a young kid of that age. Yeah, I think Barkas has shown a bit. Starfelt in there, that is what we want to see. We want to see Carl Starfelt coming in, shoring up that centre of the defence, because at this moment in time, it really is grim. I also want to bring up Bob McBob very quickly. Very good avatar, Bob. No respect for him after saying Dunfermline lay down to us. Well, we could fill an entire podcast on the Gavin Masterton and David Murray relationship, the insidious nature of that. If you should desire to watch it, watch my Jimmy Calderwood interview. Jimmy Calderwood interview on YouTube, one of my first interviews on a YouTube channel, where he admits that David Murray gave him the Dunfermline job. Cross purposes, perhaps. Yes, and I'm delighted that you've got nothing better to do on a Saturday afternoon than watch the award-winning Celtic State of Mind, Bobby. So stay tuned in and come back throughout the season, because I'm sure there'll be plenty for you to enjoy. Now,
full-time Bob McBob.
Yes,
and you'll be laying down.
But I've checked 25. There's a Starfelt flying in the sky. I can't wait. I was going to say this, right? I can't wait to get back into the stadium, Boise, because even with only 2,000 in there, right, it was much better. The vibe was much better than the elevator chant style sound that we were getting piped in there. I mean, even with 2,000, there's Celtic players in there. Ayeti, first time he's played in front of a Celtic fan. Incredible, isn't it?
I know. And do you know something, Paul, right? It's very good because we get criticised for being negative at times, right? But then you get praise from the other side of the city who say they're just being fair and balanced. Fair enough. Maybe they mean it, maybe they don't. Wait till we start winning again. And the one thing that's never been questioned is, how come they ramped up their performances so much when nobody in front of them? How come they had programme notes by their own captain saying they could not handle the pressure from their own fans? Programme notes by James Tavernier, and their own programme fans are buying, saying, oh, we felt the heat. You know, that was the excuse. There is a big difference happening here. And you know what? If we want to be positive, bring the fans back. Let's see how they handle the heat. Because it hasn't been, they've not had to handle nothing yet. And last season, by the way, our title challenge on the pitch was a whimper. But let's see how they handle the heat when they're 1-0 down at Tynecastle, for example.
I'm going to throw a grenade, Russell, just at Bob McBob, or whatever his name is. Michael McKernan and Dunfermline did. Right, here's a wee thing, Michael. Remember the big expose on the BBC? What was his name? Mark Day. Was it Mark Day? The guy that does the investigative journalism. And he did the EBT show. Well, there was 2 unnamed EBT recipients. Join the dots. All you need to do is have a look at the group, the Stadia group that was owned by Gavin Masterton. And the fact that down south, Graham Souness was the scout to try and get them business down south. He gets an EBT from Rangers.
I don't understand.
Interesting. Who were the other 2 recipients? Who was the Northern Ireland scout and who was the Scottish scout? Who knows? Homework. As I say, watch the interview. Watch the interview with Jimmy Calderwood. Join the dots. Join the dots. Yes, there we go. So, Scott Howe, welcome back to the show. Bob, I'm sorry, but you've just been blocked. There you go.
See when Donald Finlay is literally grilling your big man who's a knighthood, and he's grilling him in court, and we know annoy me that anything happened. Oh, Craig White, we were duped. Donald Finlay took them to school. I love it. I love it all. And Chris Sutton, 100% right. Last thing I'm saying on it.
100%. Right, we're in for the second half, Russell. We'll talk about the football at full time. Hopefully, there's been a few changes, but we will see you at full time, sir.